Good morning and welcome to TAPP Talk Live. Here we are with live show number 58. And today we're talking about why coconut is the best source of activated carbon for water filters. Now we are live from Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. unless there's something else going on in the morning, in which case we just skip a day. Like tomorrow, we won't be live tomorrow because I have to go to Valletta in the morning. And so we're live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. and we're here, or I'm here, to answer your questions. If you'd like to make comments and questions in the comment box, either on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. And if you're watching the recording, you can also put comments and questions in, and I will get back to you on those. And you can subscribe to us if you're watching us on YouTube, and that would be great. You'll get notifications when we are live. So today we're talking about coconut and why it's a good source for making activated carbon blocks. So we're talking about coconut instead of something like coal or wood. So when we look at something like activated carbon, what has happened to the carbon, whatever source it comes from, but what has happened to the carbon is it has been processed at really high temperatures with infusions of oxygen, which creates millions of pores in between the carbon atoms. So what that does is expand the surface area of the carbon. And it's in fact it expands it by about 100 times. So this whole process creates very little ash when you use coconut, and that's one of the reasons why coconut is used. And so you get very little dust coming out of the filters. So we're using an activated carbon block like this, for instance. This is an activated carbon block. This is what it looks like. And we're using it inside a filter like this for water. So what you don't want is, and you can see it's hollow inside there if I just get the angle right. And what you don't want is a load of dust coming out of it all the time. And in fact, when it's wet, you don't get any dust at all. Sometimes you get a bit of dust in the transport, but not a huge amount. Now, what the reason for using activated carbon is because of the amount of pores that you need. So the filtration, one of the first ways that you're getting filtration, there's two methods that activated carbon filters. And one is because it's a membrane, so it's got pores or holes. And these holes are between 1 and 2 microns. And a micron is a nanometer, so that's like a billionth of a meter. So it's really small. And so it's filtering all your particles. And one of the most amazing things about activated carbon is that because you've got pores of different sizes, the range of contaminants that it filters is quite large. So it's not just that every pore is the same size. They're not all 2 microns. It's between 1 and 2 microns, and in fact you might get some that are below. But you've got a range of pore sizes, which means that the contaminants, a wide range of contaminants that you're filtering, and you need that when you're filtering water. So if you've joined us online, I would like to just invite you to put any comments or questions in the comment box, and I will see them. As long as I look in the right place. And if you're watching the recording, you can also do that, and we'll pick up that. So different pore sizes remove different types of contaminants from your water. So that's the first thing about activated carbon, is its range of pore sizes. Actually, that's the second thing. The first thing is it's a very large surface area. So the third thing is activated carbon is what you call hydrophobic, which means that it repels the water. So in fact, as it naturally repels water, contaminants will stick to the surface of the activated carbon because they find it more attractive than being in the water. So for instance, that's actually how you remove chlorine out of water. The chlorine ions in the water find it far more attractive to stick to the activated carbon than remain in the water. And in fact, a reverse osmosis system itself, the reverse osmosis process does not remove chlorine. It removes lots of other contaminants very effectively, but it doesn't remove chlorine. How a reverse osmosis system removes chlorine is with one of these as one stage in the filtration system. So an activated carbon block like this is very good at removing chlorine, but also things like volatile organic compounds. And volatile organic compounds is anything that has a boiling point below the boiling point of water. So for instance, if you were using distillation, then distillation is not going to be great at removing things that have a higher boiling point than water, but it will remove things that have a lower boiling point than water. So volatile organic components, very good at removing those because they stick to the surface. And that includes things like pesticides and herbicides and things like that, which a coconut activated carbon block is very good at removing. So if you've just joined us online, thank you very much. I can see some of you have just joined us. If you'd like to ask questions and comments or even ask for a demo of tap water products, just do ask and I'll be able to show you the products. So just ask in the comment box and I can come to your questions or give a demonstration of any products if you want. So feel free to interrupt or feel free to ask questions in the middle of it, even if we're going on about coconut being a really great source of activated carbon. So it's a good source. Firstly, as we covered in the beginning, it creates lots of pores when you expand it with oxygen and heat. It creates lots of pores in a very small surface area. And it's got a higher number of micropores that are much smaller than 2 nanometers or a 2 billionth of a meter or 1 billionth of a meter. It's got much more of those, in fact 50% more than coal-sourced activated carbon. So if you actually rolled out a gram of this substance, if it wasn't in a solid block like this, this is granular activated carbon that's been ground up and then it's been bound together in a block using a binding agent. And it makes it very, very hard, which is great. It makes it hard wearing, long lasting, and it also increases the functionality of the filter, so it's removing a lot more components than if it was just granular activated carbon. So if you took a gram of this and you rolled it out, then it would be the size of a football pitch. In fact, it says here 1 pound is 133 acres of material. Well, it's just huge, isn't it? I like 1 gram and a football pitch because that's kind of like you can sort of sense that. So things stick to the surface as the water film moves over the water, and that's how we remove chlorine and lots of other things like, for instance, rust and sediment and things like that. And you can see that in this sort of block. Here's one of our filters that's been inside one of our tap water filters, and you can see that it's discoloured on the top, and even the activated carbon block inside will be discoloured as things stick to the surface. So we compare activated carbon made of coconut, we make a comparison to coal and wood. And one of the reasons why coconut is such a good source of material for these filters is purely sustainability. We know that digging coal and chopping down wood is not a great sustainable method of processing. Coconut is, because you can harvest coconut, I think it's 3 or 4 times a year. It's a very green source of material, so you're harvesting it 3 or 4 times a year, and it's a renewable resource because you're replanting and you're using the coconut. So the coconut husk, which is what is baked at very high temperatures and then infused with oxygen to separate the atoms and give this big surface area. That's what's used. It's a green source of material because it's actually a byproduct. So instead of just throwing it away or doing something else with it, it's being turned into water filters for you to enjoy great tasting drinking water in Malta. So there's some other reasons why coal or bituminous carbon isn't a great alternative for water filters, and one of those is because it tends to impart a taste into the water, whereas coconut does not. So the pores are actually larger in coal and bituminous carbon, and it can impart that taste. It's kind of like a metallic sort of almost taste. So wood charcoal as well, which has bigger pores. Wood charcoal has bigger pores, and that's why it's not as good as activated carbon from coconut, because the wood charcoal has bigger pores. And you can buy wood charcoal filters, which you just stick in the water, but it tends to take sort of 8 hours for the adsorption to take place. But they have bigger pores, so it's not removing as many contaminants as the activated carbon made by coconut. And also it's got a lower density, so a lower number of pores. But wood charcoal is used in the food industry, and because it's very non-toxic, and for certain contaminants, it's very good. The thing is that activated carbon with coconut has got a far wider range of contaminants removal, far wider range of size of pores and things like that. So if you just joined us live, and I can see a few of you online today, thank you for joining us. We're live from Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. Today we're talking about why coconut is the best source of activated carbon. But if you've got any comments and questions about anything to do with tap water, then please do put a comment in the box. See if you would like a demonstration of a product. We also do that just on demand anytime you want to. So the kind of things that activated carbon are really good made of coconut is really good at removing things like volatile organic components, those pollutants with a low boiling point than water. Also things like chlorine, trihalomethanes, horrid things which are a byproduct of chlorination of water. So trihalomethanes is a reaction between chlorine and organic components in the water. You tend to pick up all sorts of things whilst it's in transport, as little as possible, and Water Services Corporation obviously do everything they can to make sure we don't get contaminants in the pipes. But there's 2,500 kilometres of pipes in Malta, so you will get some metals, some organic components and things like that getting in. Trihalomethanes and also things like refrigerants, solvents that get into our systems, PFASs, what's known as forever chemicals. We did an article on those a few weeks ago. They are things like Teflon, for instance, is a forever chemical. It stays around forever, and you don't really want them in the water. Organic coconut activated carbon blocks, very good at filtering those out. And also, for here in Malta, rust and sediment, they're very good at filtering those out. Also nitrates, very important for Malta, as our groundwater has quite high rates of nitrates, and it removes a great majority, I think it's 90% of all nitrates. And then things like the halogens, which is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and astatine. These are what's known as halogens. It's very good at removing those, as well as the pesticides and herbicides. So that's it on why activated carbon is, why coconut is a great source for activated carbon. That's what we use in these filters. We use them in different sizes. So here is an EcoPro compact size. The water filter is smaller than the Eco Pro. So this is one. These filters will give you 400 litres of great tasting drinking water, and it is really simple to change. You just unscrew the casing here and you change the filter nice and easily. It actually contains no plastic in the filter. So these are silicone, and this does go into landfill when it's used, but you're only providing 6 of those in the waste per year instead of all those plastic bottles, which are 10 times more expensive than this little system. This sticks onto your tap, and therefore when water's coming out of here, it's filtered. When you change the switch, it's then unfiltered. Sorry, it's filtered here, and when you change the switch like this downwards, it's not filtered. So this is not filtered, change the switch, filtered. So you're only using it when you need filtered water. So that's the Eco Pro Compact. This one comes from the Eco Pro, which is a slightly larger filter. The Eco Pro Compact does 400 litres, and the Eco Pro does 1,200 litres over a maximum period of 3 months. And we'll be discussing that tomorrow, when to change your water filters. But this one, you change every 3 months, same sort of system attached to the tap, non-filtered water, filtered water out of here. And then we've got activated carbon fibre. And this fibre, as you can see, it's soft, it's a fibre. And this fibre is used in things like this. This is a pitcher filter. And as you pour, the water is filtered out, so there's no wasting. No waiting of water. No waiting for the water to drop down and pass through a filter. So this is using activated carbon fibre, which removes over 80 contaminants, and also it's got some magnesium beads inside there, which remineralises the water to make it a little bit more alkaline, although we do have alkaline water here in Malta. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining us, and if you're watching the recording, please note we are live Monday to Friday, answering questions when you come on and ask them, and otherwise just talking about water and tap water here in Malta. So I'll see you on Wednesday this week, as I have to go to Valletta on Tuesday, and we'll be live again on Wednesday, and I look forward to that. Thank you very much.